Hey guys, today let's make a tier list for all of the Culling fights for JJK. Obviously, we'll be getting into manga spoiler territory, so be warned. But obviously, up to the anime points, we already seen a bunch of these fights already. Actually, we're up to currently this point where Megumi is basically fighting Reggie, while this Takaba guy is fighting this JJK version of Bakugo. This is where the anime is currently caught up, basically. And everything else is kind of like spoilers, so yeah, be warned. There's gonna be manga spoiler eventually in this video. If not, I'm probably gonna be like talking about a lot of spoiler content, so yeah, this is not anime friendly, be warned, okay? You know, I always want to film like shorter version videos, so hopefully I don't yap too much this video. I'm making another freaking 30-40 minutes long, so let's just jump right in. Basically, we'll be ranking all of these fights in the peak tier, the amazing tier, good tier, mid tier, and nap inducing, which is boring tier. And then there's the worst tier, the shittiest tier, which is Gege being held at gunpoint tier. So yeah, if you make if it ends in F tier, basically yeah, Gege is about to get death threats again. Don't do that in real life though, it's a joke. Anyways, and then there's not a fight tier, which is some fights are, what the hell, why is it even included? Yuji vs Panta was literally like a joke. They were not even seriously fighting. It was like literally a performance. But yeah, before we go there though, so some of these fights are actually not even fights. Also like Yuji vs Hakaria, but that was not a fight. It was like a clash of ideals. Let's just jump right in. I already basically ordered all of these in like the chronological order. So it's basically, this is what happened in the beginning of season 3, and you know, and then they would kind of progress through the manga. So enough yapping on explaining these tiers. Let's just jump right in. First fight we've seen literally beginning of season 3 is Yuji versus Yuta. Now this is not a mid fight, just because, wow, okay, I'm talking about the anime, okay, but we'll be talking about the anime up until the point where it's not adapted, it's just manga. But yeah, that was definitely not a mid fight, even though, you know, Yuta and Yuji, they're kind of both holding back on each other because, you know, they're not trying to kill each other, except Yuta, but Yuta was still holding back. Honestly, it's not amazing, but it's at least deserving of good, just because of, you know, the whole sequence of the chase scene where Yuta is chasing down Yuji, and like he was trying to run away, but ultimately, you know, he failed because Yuta's just him, and then Yuji can't really run away from him. And yeah, also like the twist in the end, how what basically got Yuji was, you know, the reveal of Rika. That was also pretty good. There was some fighting, you know, most of the fight was like kind of chasing. During the end, you know, Yuji was kind of like you know, shitting bricks. He was realizing that Yuta's for real, trying to like kill him, so he was actually fighting back a little bit, which is pretty good. And you know, obviously the MAPPA animators, you know, went crazy on this fight. So yeah, at least a B tier. But you know, due to them, you know, not fighting too seriously with each other, it doesn't really go to, you know, A tier. So yeah, B tier. Choso vs Naoya. Oh, this is right after. It was happening simultaneously, as you know, with the Yuji versus Yuta chase down. Honestly, I like this fight more than, you know, Yuji versus Yuta. Choso vs Naoya was actually serious. They were actually trying to kill each other, which is, you know, a lot more intense. The new meme was born. It was not even in the manga, but you know, basically the face, the hair wipe, or the freaking punch, you know, that meme was born because MAPPA animator decided to troll us, you know, add a little bit of fun elements to this fight. But yeah, in the end, this fight is actually pretty good. Low-key deserving the amazing tier, no? Just because of how like how much at stake. They were actually trying to kill each other. Naoya was like straight up stabbing Choso, and Choso actually outplayed Naoya, even though Naoya was like way faster than him. Naoya just such a dumbass. Low-key, I feel like this deserved to be in the amazing tier, because, you know, it's actually pretty serious. Good or amazing? I like this fight a lot because they were both kind of using their ability to like the best of their capability, so I feel like it's deserved. And you know, that clash between these two was pretty interesting. Personally for me, I'll put it in the amazing tier, maybe at the bottom of A, but it's good. Amazing though, I liked it a lot just because it was the win rate is actually pretty evenly split. I was not even sure who was gonna win. At first, it looked like Naoya was gonna win. Like he had the overwhelming advantage, but Choso was like not backing down. You know, he was kind of locked in the whole process. So you kind of didn't know until the end who was gonna win, which is pretty interesting for a fight setup. Next, the Maki versus Zenin clan. This is at least amazing. I just need to justify if it goes to peak. From what I heard, a lot of the Japanese audience didn't really like the adaptation style because they feel like it wasn't serious enough. Like it was supposed to be a traumatic sequence for Maki and she was supposed to be suffering a lot, but they didn't like it because apparently Mappa made it too enjoyable or entertaining in a way, because they were like adding like a chill music. It was low-key like a pretty funny music, you know, like it was like no, some shit like that, you know. It was like a kind of a chill music in the background as OST. Like bro was having a what do you call it, therapeutic episode while massacring her whole clan. Personally, I didn't really hate it for that adaptation style, and although it was kind of one-sided, it was still pretty peak, I'm not gonna lie, just because of how much people Maki had to kill. Is it peak though? It's at least top of amazing. The animation was great, and then you know the whole Zenin clan, they didn't really put up much of a fight, but they had a lot of members in there, okay? So there was a lot of fights that did happen. I liked it a lot though. For now we might leave it just the top of A, but is these two on the same sequence? On the same tier? Does that make sense? Nah, okay, for now we'll bump it to S, you know, bottom of S, because it was a pretty peak sequence. But they actually separated Naoya versus Maki into two different parts than the Maki versus Zenin clan, even though technically they're kind of together, no? Because Naoya is also part of the Zenin clan. That fight I like too. Because Naoya was actually like kind of going crazy on Maki. Like for a moment I thought he was gonna hit a Black Flash just because how like focused and locked in he was. But yeah, alas, he didn't have it in him. He had a lot of ambition, but I guess it wasn't enough for him to land a Black Flash. But I wished Naoya didn't just get one shot though. You know, the whole part where Naoya's like kind of like punching Maki infinitely. It's a good fight, but I'm not putting it in peak because it was kind of dumb on Naoya. For at least for me, I don't know why this guy just refused to use a weapon because of his fragile ego or some shit. Like low-key he could have won if he just used a knife, no? Or like some kind of curse tool. Like imagine like the 1,000 punches on Maki, instead of that is like 1,000 stabs. Don't that just instantly kill anybody? But then again, that would make him too OP or some shit like that, I guess. It was a good fight though. Although, you know, all it took was one hit for Naoya just straight up get destroyed by Maki. Yeah, he basically got predicted by Maki. Yeah, it was a pretty amazing fight. By the way, you know what? For the Maki versus Zen clan, I'm counting, you know, the Naoya versus Maki fight in there as well. That's what makes it so peak, because it's such a long sequence of fights, like all together. That's why I'm putting the peak. But Naoya versus Maki alone though. Loki put it behind Naoya versus Choso. Because at that point, you feel like Maki is unstoppable. Even though Naoya was low-key a little bit aura farm, he was aura farming a little bit. He was kind of like landing some good hits, but Maki at that point just seemed unstoppable. I didn't even like believe for a second that Maki was gonna lose. If anything, like Choso versus Naoya was more evenly split. So yeah, these are both amazing fights, but I'm placing this one behind Choso versus Naoya. Moving on, Yuji versus Panda was a nice little troll fight. It was not really a fight. They were just kind of acting at each other. They're doing some, what do you call it, WWE like performance over there. Like Panda was hyping up Yuji to make him look like he's the next upcoming big shot. But it was actually just a performance. If it was actually me ranking this shit, it would probably be nap inducing, because it's not really a fight, and I guess it's not a fight. But if I had to rank it in terms of, it's kind of nap inducing because it's not serious at all. You know, you just know they're just having fun. You can't even rank it off of like fighting because they're not really fighting. It's more like a, what do you call it? Entertainability. Will be, even its entertainability will be not too high because they're low-key just like trolling. It's not too funny. But I'm not even ranking this as an actual real fight though. Next is when Megumi and Panda's basically infiltrating and trying to reach Yuji and Hakari while Kirara was stopping them. That was this fight was more of a like a puzzle solving process than an actual fight because they're trying to just figure out Kirara's ability. Not gonna lie, this one's borderline nap inducing because it was just like the whole process was just them trying to figure out like what the hell her ability does. And they were not really fighting each other. Like the moment they actually like basically get to Kirara, she just instantly get defeated because she doesn't really have any fighting capability herself other than using her curse technique to basically push people away, you know. I'm low-key putting this fight nap inducing. It's not very impressive. Not very entertaining. Okay, there was not much fighting. It was just Kirara throwing shit at them, you know, with her curse technique, you know, with the spacing. I still don't understand what the fuck she does. I think it's just like different sequence of the star's name, basically push the next sequence name apart, some shit like that. I don't understand. Too complicated. This shit, like, this is why Kirara and Hakari is like a couple, because they're fucking, holy shit, their abilities combined is like a whole freaking like 12-page essay, bro. You know, we'll talk about Hakari's freaking abilities later. That shit's a whole freaking essay, bro. But yeah, this one, unfortunately, I might have to put in D tier. Next, Yuji vs Hakari is a clash of ideal. Yuji was not really fighting at all. Hakari was not really fighting him. He was just using his curse energy to hurt him a little bit, you know, kind of test his character. It's not really a fight, but it's better than this. If I had to like rank these two, this will be nap inducing and this will be mid. But alas, they're not really fights. I don't even know why whoever made this tier list put them there. Oh, it was pretty interesting though. You know, Yuji was literally got sent flying again and again by Hakari, and you know, we learned that his curse energy has like some kind of attributes to it, where it's like rough and it basically does like extra pain or some shit like that. It's like psychological, mental damage. Pretty interesting. Not a fight. Yeah, it's not a fight, so I'm not ranking them. Next, you know, this was peak. Yuji vs Higuruma. We got the full showcase of what Higuruma does. It's at least good. It's amazing. This fight's amazing. I really like the plot twist where, you know, in the second retrial that Yuji called, basically he just instantly admitted to him being responsible to the massacre of Shibuya, which is really says a lot about his mental state. Bro is not good. But other than that though, this is at least top of A. It low-key goes to peak, no? It shows all of Higuruma's capability, even like his executioner sword, his confiscation. The whole backstory of Higuruma is really interesting. You know, I really like that meme is born as well from this fight. You know, the whole face swipe. I love that. So good. Amazing. I kind of want to bump it to peak. Yeah, I'm putting it at peak. Hold up, I know, you know, JJK has some insane fights that are better than these. Maybe later, if that fights like that show up, I'll make a bonus tier at top, above it, okay? Because I know there's like fights that are a different tier higher than these. Because so far, these two fights, you know, the Maki Massacre and the Yuji vs Higuruma fight are like really amazing. They're really peak, but there are actually fights better than like these fights, like a whole tier higher. For example, you know, for me, during season 2, the Sukuna versus Maharuka fight probably be higher than these two. Also, the Yuji and Todo versus Mahito fight definitely, you know, a whole tier higher than these two. Those are like the peak of JJK fights, okay? The peak. It will be like triple S, SSS tier. But yeah, for now we'll leave these two in S tier. Next is the fight that's currently happening in the anime. It's at least good. Probably at least amazing, because the showcase of ability between Megumi and Reggie is pretty interesting, and we got to the point where the newest episode, I believe, finished the fight, but I'm just not caught up. I only got to the part where basically it was at the end of the episode where Megumi is using his domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden, to fight Reggie. But even the whole sequence, you know, before that was very interesting. They're using their ability in very creative ways. You know, Megumi even pulled out the Max Elephant, which is something you barely see him use because apparently his curse energy is actually not very sufficient. So yeah, the Max Elephant is like using like 60 to 70% of his freaking curse energy or some shit. So you can't really spam that shit. Megumi vs Reggie. I remember it was pretty intense. So we're getting into the manga territory. Actually, not really, because this is animated now. I know this fight is pretty intense even till the end. Like they were like putting their life on the line. Like Reggie was putting up a good fight even in his domain. But I don't think it deserved to be in S tier though. I'm putting it top of A. Move on next to Takaba versus Yori. This is barely even a fight because I believe Takaba was just stalling out Yori. They didn't even finish fighting. Like Takaba was just like kind of stalling him and like basically making a joke out of him. They were not really. I think in the end, after Reggie lost, they just kind of the other guy, the bomb guy, kind of just stopped fighting and moved on. This is not a fight, bro. This is gay. What are you doing? It's like one of those ones where they're just there to basically stall each other. It's not really a fight, bro. Like, but they are actually fighting. So I'm like, where's the fight? Gay, where's the fight? I'm putting it in F tier because it's literally just an off-screen fight where there's nothing shown. Yeah. Also, I don't remember why they stopped fighting exactly. I think it's just because Reggie lost or some stuff like that. And now we're actually moving on to the. I'm pretty sure this will be animated too in the most recent episode. Now we're actually moving on to the real, what do you call it, manga territory. Okay, so you know, be ready for manga spoilers. We're moving to the Sendai colony, I believe, with Yuta, and I don't know why I skipped the part where he one-shotted the strongest person in the colony. That old guy who's like doing like some praying, like some kind of meditation shit. That wasn't really a fight. He just got one shot by Yuta. But I guess the first official fight here will be Yuta versus the cockroach curse. I believe his name was like Kuro Uroshi or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly. But this fight was good. It was a good fight actually. Is it amazing? I wouldn't put it amazing. I believe there's a little bit at stake. You know, the basically the narrator was kind of tricking us into thinking that Yuta might lose, but no, Yuta just kind of destroyed the cockroach demon curse. Also a good fight in the end, because you know it seemed like there's some stake, and the cockroach curse was, you know, ability was pretty cool. I believe he could, like, if he damaged you, your wounds started like having cockroach popping out and start like eating you from the inside, stuff like that. I don't remember exactly though, but it was not a bad fight. It was like pretty complete, like a good individual fight. And you know, there was at least they were trying to kill each other, so it'll be harder than Yuji versus Yuta. This was peak. The triple battle royale between them. In the end, it was 4 because the cockroach demon came back. That's all I remember. I don't know why he didn't die fully when Yuta killed him the first time. I thought that guy died for sure, but he came back somehow again later. So it was actually like a 4, like a 1v1. It's like a 4-person battle royale. And you know, the whole sequence of the domain expansion was peak. Technically, it was like Yuta had Rika, so you know, it was kind of like more fair. He had a pretty big advantage because the other guy, what do you call it, Dude, this whole holy blackout. The hair gun guy. What is it? Ryu and Uro. I don't know. I forgot their exact name. I just call it like hair cannon guy and the naked sky lady. They were not exactly on the same side either. It's like they would also damage each other. They were not on the same team. So actually, Utah had a pretty big advantage just because Rika was so strong. But yeah, that fight was really peak. It was pretty chaotic. Yeah, they were all trying to kill each other. Hella peak. I don't exactly remember. I think they were low-key kind of getting out on Utah for a bit because he was the strongest, right? But in the end, I believe first the Sky Girl was like kind of defeated. At the same time, Utah killed the cockroach curse. And then in the end, Utah beat the hair kind of guy. Yeah, Utah was like fully locked in during this fight. It was a really peak fight. Yeah, definitely deserving top of us. I remember liking it a lot. Also the edits. There's a lot of edits for this fight with the whole, the Hakari versus Kashimo fight. With this, I just remember there's one music AMV. Oh my god, it has so much views, and it made this fight look so hype. So yeah, I'm actually so hyped for it getting animated in the future. Too bad, I feel like I heard they're taking a pretty long break, so the part 2 of the Culling game is probably gonna take a while to get animated. I think it's probably gonna come out next year. No, so sad. I'm praying to God that it come out at the end of this year, because that'll be so long. It's gonna be an entire year if it comes out next year. Anyway, moving on to Hakari versus Charles. I believe that's the mangaka or the manga artist. He was some kind of artist because he had a whole big ass pen as his weapon. I don't know about giving this fight a high rating, dude. Basically, this is the first time where Hakari's whole curse technique and his domain expansion and what he actually what makes him strong was revealed, and that shit was so complicated you can't really fully understand it. You just need to know that his domain expansion basically allows him to become immortal. Yeah, the idol death game. I don't remember how this hindsight goes. Some shit like this. I don't remember. Yeah, I remember trying to read this part of the manga and trying not to fall asleep, bro. It was not that bad. Okay, it was pretty bad. For me, personally, maybe you guys might like it. I doubt it, bro. Maybe you guys play some it, but for me, I remember falling asleep trying to read through this part. Okay, so I can't really justify putting this higher than I'm just trying to be honest, okay? I remember when this part was coming out and I was reading the manga, I'm like, yo, how long are they gonna explain this guy's curse technique with a whole freaking gambling game? Dude, I was literally it was making me not want to read JJK. I remember reading through this fight. So, honestly, this fight for me was probably literally D tier. But it was pretty cool seeing how good Hakari's regeneration was after he used his domain expansion. So maybe I should boost it up to mid. Wouldn't that be kind of a stretch though? It was literally nap inducing for me. But to be fair, they were actually fighting each other kind of like a battle to the death. So maybe in animation form later it'll be better. I'll put it bottom and mid, okay? Because it wasn't too terrible now I think about it. Because it was still partially fighting sequence. Just half of the sequence is freaking explanation of Hakari's domain expansion and what it does. I can't. I'm moving back to D tier. Okay, flame me all you want. I'm putting that in D tier. Sorry. Imagine. Dude, is there anybody who liked this fight? Hakari versus the Charles guy? Let me know if there's anybody who actually liked that fight, okay? Tell me the reason. Didn't Gege himself say oh, you don't have to take the whole explanation for Hakari's what do you call it? Curse domain expansion that seriously. You can just skim through it. Didn't he say that himself? That's crazy. After you wrote 4 pages of explanation for his whole technique. That shit make no sense. Okay, I need to stop flaming. I need to move on. Next, Panda versus Kashimo. it was a fight to death, but unfortunately our boy Panda, he's too weak to actually fight Kashimo. As we, you know, for my tier list, we know that Panda is actually a pretty good sorcerer. He's not exactly on the grade 1 tier, but he's like a grade 2 at least. If anything, he might make it to like semi grade 1. But unfortunately Kashimo he's like a special grade, you know. So even though, you know, Panda's final form, his sister, the Triceratops form or something like that, was revealed, it actually did not do jack shit. After like 1 frame after it was revealed, bro got one-shotted, which is actually kind of sad. I think his brother and sister died, no, because of that fight. Yeah, Panda was never the same after that. Bro kind of like died. So fuck Kashimo, bro. I actually like Panda a lot. I can't believe he actually killed like 66% of him. I think his brother and sister died from that fight. It was only Panda left, no? But I'm not talking about that though. The fight itself was okay. You know, there was some stake. There was not. You know, Panda was gonna get cooked, but you just want to see how much he could do before he gets cooked. And honestly, he did not do much. Okay, he got one shot. If Panda was able to do a little bit more, it might end up being good. But for now, I'm just putting it in mid, just because it was kind of like an aura farm scenario for Kashimo. So I'm just gonna put mid, because the fight itself is not impressive. Okay, Kashimo is very impressive, but the fight itself is mid. Okay, the fight was there to basically just allow the viewers to know how strong Kashimo is. And I'm kind of repeating myself over and over again. So move on next to Hakari versus Kashimo. Oh yeah, this fight's good. This fight's amazing. Hakari versus Kashimo. This is where we see the full capability of Hakari. You can see, you know, how freaking broken his immortality truly is. And you know, a good amount of meme was born. You know, the whole yeah, that dance. Oh, with the whole, you know, soundtrack with the, what's it called, Tunka Tunka. That was so hype. I literally listen to that song just because of this fight while I work out in the gym. But yeah, enough talking about that. The fight itself was pretty amazing. And it was pretty hype, just because, you know, just before this, you know, we seen the Panda vs Kashimo fight, how strong Kashimo was, and then they see this fight is kind of to show how broken Hakari is. I need to regrow. I like the Yuji versus Higuruma fight more than the Maki presented. I think this fight low key. Okay, you know what? I need to add a row above. There need to be a SSS tier. Oh. Greatest of all time, bro. GOAT. These fights will be reserved for, you know, the best fights, probably like the top 3 fights or top 5 fights of the JJK, you know, series. So these fights are, you know, probably the top 20 fights. Dude, JJK has so much fights. Okay, there's like freaking over 50 fights probably. And if you're in top 20, you're already really good. If not, like probably like top 10. These guys are like top 10, but these are like the SSS tier will be the top 5s. Top 5 fights. Other peak fights I didn't think of. I just wanted to make another tier because I feel like these are not the, you know, the tier 1s of the JJK fights. So I'm making like another tier above it. But yeah, for Hakari and Kashimo, I actually put it in peak tier because it was very entertaining. I remember I was actually really invested while I was reading the manga within these fights. And yeah, Hakari winning in the end was actually super unexpected. Bro actually outsmarted Kashimo and pushed him into the ocean. Dude, why are there so many fights where you're just like countering your opponent by pushing them in the ocean? I just remember the Rize versus Denji fight. That's kind of how it happened too. Yeah, really good fight. Yeah, I'll actually put it in peak. Next is we're getting close to the end of the Culling game. Is Maki plus the samurai guy and the, what do you call it? was like the Japanese wrestling guy, and Kamo Noritoshi, the good one, and Maki versus Chris Naoya. Dude, Chris Naoya was insane, bro. He was insane strong. Bro learned domain expansion. Like the first, yeah, he was borderline disaster curse level. No, I think he's borderline. He's literally on the same level as Dagon. If anything, he might be stronger than Dagon. Yeah, Curse Naoya was something else. I'm not gonna lie. And it just goes to show how much stronger Maki really got, compared to his, self that was in Shibuya. She was not doing shit against a fully, basically awakened Dagon that was able to use her main expansion. She was not doing shit. But now that Maki has her full handling restriction unlocked, she was actually able to basically. She didn't do it alone. She had help, but she was still the main contributor of defeating Curse Naoya. If anything, I like the beginning sequence of just Kamo and Maki versus Curse Naoya. That sequence was better than the end, because in the end, Naoya kind of got just like defeated by the element of surprise. Maki kind of just abused her heavenly restriction in a way that Naoya didn't even know, and just like one shot at him. So that was barely even a fight. That was more like of a mechanic abuse. I feel like that takes points off of it, so I can't really rank it too high because of that. Because if it wasn't for that, it would have been more interesting of a fight. In total, though, it was actually quite a long sequence. It's like the beginning half before Naoya was fully born as a cursed spirit. He was like a cursed wound for the longest time. It would either be high B or bottom A. Let me think. Okay. You know what? I feel like it's a fight that's way more intense than Naoya versus Maki, so at least it deserves to be above this. Yeah, it's gonna be in the A tier. Maki versus others versus Chris Naoya. It's more intense than this. Megumi versus Reggie. I'll place it here. Still a pretty intense fight, because Naoya was deadass trying to kill everybody, and he was kind of a menace at that point. So yeah, amazing. It's in the A tier. Next, for me, I count this as like the last fight of the Culling game. Okay, the Kenjaku versus Yuki Choso. After this, the Culling game is still there, but I feel like it's kind of over because they're not really doing Culling game stuff anymore. Let's just rank this first. Kenjaku versus Yuki and Choso was a good fight. Is it amazing though? It's amazing for Kenjaku to freaking aura farm, because holy shit, how did he survive fighting Yuki? Like, it's insane. I know people still flame this fight, like, even to this day, because of how Yuki died and lost. But the fight itself is pretty good. It's pretty amazing. Choso was not doing too much that fight. He did what he can, okay? But dude, Kenjaku with his open domain is just too strong. And like the way he just has too much experience. Is this a peak fight though? I wouldn't put it peak fight, but I'd put it top of amazing. It was a pretty high stake fight. Even Tengen was helping them too. It was like a 3v1 and they still lost. Although albeit Tengen couldn't do too much. That was a sad fight. I really didn't like the result. Like how one-sided it ended up. Kenjaku literally walked out like scot-free, and then just like got rid of Tengen. Didn't he straight up consume Tengen with his curse spirit manipulation? Killed Yuki, defeated Choso. Oh Jesus Christ, that result was abysmal. That was a crazy ending for the 3v1. But yeah, it was still a good fight though. So sad for Yuki though. Damn, probably like the saddest ending for a special grade. Beside Geto, of course. What the fuck Geto even do? Geto just lost to Yuta. I mean, I guess Kenjaku is also a special grade, so it makes sense. Special grades losing a special grade, that's pretty common. Geto lost to Yuta as well, who's also a special grade. It's just the ending was pretty sad of this fight, but it's still an amazing fight, nonetheless. These fights, I don't even count as part of the Culling game, so if you really want to see just Culling game, the Culling game fights rated, we'll be done. But you know what? Since we're already here, let's just rank these as well. Meguna versus Yoruzu. Okay, Yuji versus Meguna. I believe this fight is supposed to be right after Megumi. Basically, a big spoiler for Jujutsu, okay? Although I already said this is manga, you know, spoiler zone. So be warned, okay? Right after Megumi basically got converted into the new host, the new shit. I'm like blanking out. Basically, Sukuna took over Megumi's body. You know, he switched hosts, and then he took over Megumi's body. This is right after that. Maki and Yuji was basically fighting Sukuna in Megumi's body. Also, I believe there's other people in this fight too, like Angel. But that's it though. It was like a 3v1. Angel, Maki, and Yuji. This fight was really one-sided. Sukuna basically just kicked their asses. Yuji aura farmed a little bit with the, if it's just pain, Itadori Yuji won't stop. He was just walking with his whole body getting sliced. It was barely a fight though. Sukuna just cut after he got the body pretty much. He kind of just like punched them away and then just left. As a fight though, it was not really a good fight. It was just a mid sequence. Yeah, because Sukuna was not really trying to like stall. He was just trying to leave. And then he just knew it out of there, like as quickly as possible pretty much. Because I believe after this, basically Gojo got unsealed. But I don't know why he even left. Couldn't he just kill everybody? Oh yeah, he was saying like he's not used to this new body and he couldn't use his curse energy output. He couldn't output his curse energy properly. So I feel like he was trying to like retreat to basically get used to this new body. But yeah, it was not really like a full fight, you know. He was just trying to leave. So yeah, mid tier. Next, this is after Gojo got unsealed and they made a deal to basically fight for the Shinjuku Showdown. You know, the final big fight. Before that happened, this is Megumi versus Sukuna versus Yoruzu. That was a pretty intense fight because Yoruzu was really strong. It was a good fight at least. Is it amazing though? I feel like it's actually a pretty amazing fight. It showed us the full capability of the creation curse technique, and you know, Sukuna was utilizing Megumi's curse technique to a way that we have not seen before. He was pulling up some crazy ways of using it. I don't remember. It was pretty entertaining though. I would put it in the amazing tier. If anything, it will be higher than this. It'll be somewhere like here. It was a good fight. Yeah. In the end, Sukuna won still. Obviously, he's Sukuna. There's no way he's gonna lose to Yoruzu. But she put up a good fight, you know. I thought it was entertaining. Oh yeah, this is just the infamous Gojo versus Sukuna fight. This is like top 3 fight. The whole verse. Besides this, what other fights? This is like the #1 fight of JJK, no? And this is probably just the #1 fight of JJK. Other top 5 fights that I could think of that goes into the GOAT tier will probably be like Yuji and Todo versus Mahito fight in Shibuya. Also, Sukuna versus Mahoraga would also be in top 5. What else other good fights are there? Toji versus Gojo, you know, in the hidden inventory arc. Maybe that'll be like bottom, like 5th or 4th spot, but I count that as like GOAT tier, bro. Other than that, Todo and Yuji versus Hanami was a good fight, but I don't know if it deserved to be in top 5 though. You know what? Maybe the Nobara and Yuji versus the two Kechizo and Ezo. I believe that's her name. The two like other blood death wound painting, whatever it's called. That fight was actually pretty high. Maybe it'll be top 5, or at least that fight is at least in top 10. Okay, what other GO fights are there? But yeah, let's talk about like other. I'm stretching this video out like too long again. This is the complete tier list, if we're including, you know, the aftermath of the Culling game as well. But without it, bro, I can't put these back down. Man, what the hell? This will be with the aftermath of the Culling game, and if we remove those and don't count those, it will be like, if it's just the Culling game by itself, you know, the actual fight that happened in Culling game, it will be like this. This will be the tier list. This is the let me do this. This will be the alright, this will be actually the entire Culling game fight tier list completed. This is it. or me, without all the comparison from other seasons and all that. Yeah, this is it though. Yeah, as always, take everything with a grain of salt. These are just my personal opinions. Let me know what you thought about my tier list and what you would change, what your opinions differs from mine, and let me know what other tier lists I can make. I got this idea from a commenter from a different video of mine, so that's why I made this video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video though. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave me a like, subscribe if you feel like it, no pressure. But that's all from me though. Yeah, take it easy, y'all. Bye bye.